When I decided to go to university 5 years ago, these were the top 5 universities that I put down on my UCAS list. Swansea, Sheffield, UEA, Kiel and York. However, if I knew what I know now and I was able to like go back in time and write down my top 5 university choices for the UK, my list would be completely different. And it's because that over the last few years, I've been to so many different universities, I've experienced different unis, whether it be nightlife, campus, reviewing them, studying abroad. That is when you get a true feel for what a university is going to be like and if it's good or if it's bad and if it's the right fit for you. Because in year 13, I was sitting there, I was Googling unis, and I remember I was just like, that's got a lake. I like lakes. Let me go here. In essence, that's kind of what I did. There's so many choices, right? There's so many universities out there, and it's hard to kind of make a decision when they all seem good, they all seem roughly the same. But I am the sort of person that, every restaurant seems good to. I'm not fussed where we go. But moral of the story, right? If I was to go back in time and I was to pretty much put down 5 UK universities that I want to go to, my list would be completely different to the one I read you out at the start. So yeah, I admit back in year 13, I got some of my lists slightly wrong. However, I didn't get it all wrong. Never betray York. So definitely leave a like and subscribe down below if you're enjoying this content. And my channel's all about discovering life now. So yeah, and I'm trying to be an actor. I hope to see you in the future videos, but let's jump into my university choices for 2023, I guess. All right, so a tiny bit of context, right? So my A-levels back in the day, I scraped a BBB. Now, this means that there are a few universities that I think if I had the grades, I would have gone to. And knowing what I know now after visiting like Cambridge loads of times, I think that I would definitely have the Oxbridge unis down on my list. I did not have a single chance in anything of getting to these universities, right? So at the time, I didn't even bother looking or applying. I was like, man, I know my level right now. It's not that. So why would those universities make it onto my list if I was smart enough and if I could go back in time? Well, so when I studied abroad at a college in Australia, and they had the same kind of culture and layout as Cambridge and Oxford with the colleges. Had formal dinners every day. I'd wear a gown, 3-course meal, and there's something about the college culture that's really nice. It'd be like everybody on a Friday would go to formal dinner and make sure to, bring a few beers, get ready for the night out. You see the same people every day. It's a bit of a novelty getting dressed up. Memories and cool things happen at sort of formal dinners or the formal events. I also love the idea of being at college for the whole 3 years and being catered, so that's just me being lazy maybe. Also, the colleges are actually stunning at Cambridge, and I recently went there again. I'm filming a video coming out very soon. This time I'm guessing their degrees. Roll some clips of the city of Cambridge, some punting, some colleges, because the colleges are absolutely stunning.
One of the greatest temptations I'm facing right now is getting lazy with my style and saying I ain't appreciating mics down. I serve too small a market, I need a larger target. You know, a broader audience who's spending dollars on this. And as of right now, this temptation for making some crazy statements, complaining, but I know how pride sounds. I'm everybody's favorite, maybe one of the greatest. The peak of every playlist. You'd be a lame to hate this, but the truth is it's foolish to say this. So please bear with my foolishness.
As I said before, you get a real grinding vibe at Cambridge where everybody around you is smart, and you go into the business school, you're like, oh, I need to do some work. People here are serious. And as well, finally, because I don't want to waffle too much about these universities that are incredibly hard to get into and I had no chance getting into, but essentially as well, the monetary value of your degree from Cambridge or Oxford is probably going to be a tiny bit higher than some other unis because employers are going to love that and you're probably going to make more money long term. However, I will say, just quickly, that college culture isn't for everybody. That's me. However now, right, let's jump on to the top 5 universities that were kind of realistic for me to put down on my UCAS application back in 2017. I'm going to tell you what ones I would firm in insurance at the very end. But firstly, we are going to start with my 5th choice, move to my 4th choice, all the way down to my 1st. On screen right now is my 5th choice, and I wonder if anybody in the comments can guess what it is. Quite rogue from me, you may not have expected it. The University of Edinburgh. Now, I didn't really realise how cool Edinburgh was until I went on a road trip around Scotland. And I was there and I was like, firstly, Scotland is cool if you like adventuring, travelling, outdoorsy stuff. Secondly, the kind of city of Edinburgh is almost like a London sort of vibe where you got performers, super old buildings, some really cool vintage shops, Christmas markets. They've got all of that sort of stuff because I kind of like the Edinburgh hybrid campus and city kind of model. The buildings on campus are lovely. The degree is really well respected. And when I went on a night out there, it was a pretty good time, and I feel like everybody's fairly friendly. You just get a good overall vibe for the uni and for the city. And again, it's kind of hard to judge fully without going there, but based on like my friends who have gone there and they told me great things, it's a good balanced community, and it seems like just a nice place to go go. However, there are a few quite big cons of studying at Edinburgh. The first one would be that getting the train home from Scotland to London would be insanely expensive. And finally, it's not a full-on campus sort of vibe, which I do love. And it's also very hard to get into and quite expensive, I think. You know, Edinburgh's not cheap. Coming in next on the list is going to be the University of Sheffield. Now, good old me, back when I was in 2017, year 13, this is one that I actually put down, and this is one that I actually got right, because having been to it several times to visit friends and having been to other universities several times, this one definitely makes the cut. Now, I think one great thing about it is that, especially right now, it's a very cheap place to be. The rent's very cheap and the food there's very cheap. And clubbing, they're not going to take them, like, drinks are cheaper than elsewhere. So from a financial point of view, this is definitely probably the best one on the list. Now, what I liked about it was that they have a very cool strip of clubs, like Zante basically. On a night out, there's one street you go on, there's loads of bars, clubs and whatever. And I feel like it would never get boring going out. Secondly, I've got a lot of good friends now from Sheffield, thanks to my two close friends originally, who went there, Dave and Bailey. And as you've seen in the vlogs, I visited them a few times. Okay, would be the accommodation in first year. Make sure you get good accommodation, because David's kitchen, I mean, I played this clip loads, but roll that the freaking clip of the kitchen. So we walk downstairs, it takes me downstairs, 1 flight of stairs, 2 flight of stairs, see a cone. Go into the kitchen, mad. I was shocked. 16 people. Would you believe? This is the smallest kitchen I've seen in my life.
Yeah, look at this. The refrigerator doesn't even open all the way.
Wait, to be fair though, you're in the lowest accommodation here.
All we've got to cook on is a one hob.
Do you not even have an oven?
No.
That's just...
These are fake as well. These actually open.
These don't even open?
These do.
That is a lovely kitchen. I was shocked. Obviously you pay for what you get. And this is your room now. Although they have a seriously small kitchen, I would say that the room is definitely bigger than my room at York. I just remember filming that video and it's actually funny. He had loads of crisps in his room as well. I love it, I love it. Stevenson accommodation.
That's the whole block up there.
And that's your block.
You can see my room.
Oh, to the top?
Yeah,
oh,
my room's at one of the things.
So that's the room we're just in. Yeah, and all the stairs come down. Now right now we're off to go and get some breakfast here at Sheffield University. And is it over here? There's the edge.
Yeah, that's the edge.
Oh, so they got the sports on. Yeah, the accommodation from the outside looks really nice. Like, I actually like it.
There's a lot of it. It's all pretty close together.
The people are lovely there, a right variety of people. Like, some people are working super hard, some people aren't, some people are out all the time, some people aren't, some people are super into sport. The university is respected, it's got a good reputation. The campus is nice. I think that a few of the downsides are that it's kind of like, the university is very integrated into the city from my experience. Like I said, I like it separate. And at this point, guys, I want to say a huge thank you to today's video sponsors, UniAcco. Now, with the rising number of students studying abroad or planning to be international students, it's inevitable that students are looking for affordable accommodation near their universities. UniAcco is a global leader in student accommodation with over 10,000 properties, boasting more than 3 million rooms and places to stay. Over 6 million students from 145 countries have used UniAcco, and they have some very good policies like no university, no pay, no deposit, together with its free of charge service. Now on UniAcco, you can find rooms like studios, en-suites, non-en-suites, twin studios and more. Compare properties based on their features and prices, while also using and getting a price match guarantee. Some of the properties have great features like a gym, theatre, laundry, game room and garden and more. And there really would be something for everybody on this site. They also have a cool initiative for group bookings, where if you and your friends book accommodation together, you can get great group deals. And you can also refer a friend to UniAcco and have a chance of winning a £100 voucher. So thank you very much to UniAcco for sponsoring today's video, and let's jump back into my top 5 university choices. Next up on the list would be the University of Exeter. Now I've been here quite a few times actually, as you would have seen in the vlogs, and I did a full-on like campus and uni tour of Exeter, and I went down there for a weekend, and one thing that I really liked was that there was always time and space to do something really cool. So let's say if you got a car, you could go to the national parks, you could go surfing for a day, and obviously like surf societies and water sports societies there are very big compared to other places, because like, you know, you can surf down there whereas you can't other places. It's freezing. So I definitely love the ability to go and explore Cornwall, surf, beaches. It was pretty cool to have some nice beaches nearby. And it just made it overall a great place for like day trips. Secondly, the thing that I like about Exeter is that it's a very student-run city. So although, yeah, in first year you've got your accommodation and it's kind of on the campus side of things, even when you go into the city, it feels like it's predominantly students around. Like you go into the Pure Gym, everybody's got loads of University of Exeter gear on. Go to local nights out, pubs, Exeter's everywhere. The campus is kind of secluded, which I like, so you got lots of lecture theatres, the main student union and places, which is kind of separate from the town, which again, I'm a big fan of, like keeping student life separate from city life. And you know, the buildings are nice, the degree is fairly well respected. It kind of sits like middle top on the rankings, and they've got a good balance of like rivalries and good uni spirit. I feel like sometimes you get a feel for what uni spirit is like. In Exeter, it's good. I guess the two downsides of it would be like, obviously if you go to Exeter, you're going to get the Exeter stereotype, which hey, and also I feel like after 3 years, would the whole place kind of get a bit stale? Would the clubs get a bit boring? Obviously timepiece is good, but after 3 years. Some people say it still has this oomph, but I question that. But it's definitely great for nights out, especially to start with. So there'll be some phone wallets linked down in the description below. These things are perfect for uni. Trust me, they're £1. I made them just basically so when you go out clubbing, you can just take your ID and your credit card in there. No worries about a purse or a wallet or a bag. Next up on the list, and the last spot, because we had Oxbridge first, then Edinburgh, Exeter, Sheffield. So I went to York University, right? I loved it. I had a great time there. I feel like I owe it lots. I also went to University of Sydney, thanks to York, for a year. So what would make it onto my final spot on the list, now that I've been to York and I know I've been to other unis? Truth be told, it would be York again, because York is fantastic, guys. Like I say, I love York. If I had a choice of any university in the world, it probably wouldn't be York. But out of the UK, for me, York was definitely fantastic. So first off, it's a very student-based campus. Like the campus, Hes East, Hes West, is far away from the town, about, you know, a short bus ride. There's a free bus that goes back and forth. And obviously once you enter campus, everybody around you is a student. The campus itself is lovely. It's got a huge, ginormous lake. I mean, roll a little tour or something like that. Yeah, so I'm gonna go and take one last look at the lake and where I would have graduated if it was going ahead.
Who's spending dollars on this? And as of right now, there's temptation for making some crazy statements, complaining, but I know how pride sounds. I'm everybody's favorite, maybe one of the greatest. The peak of every playlist. You'd be a lame.
It's got very nice facilities. It's quite chill. Like everybody at the university, I'd say, is very chill. You go into the town, like I say that there's less edgy people. I mean, I wasn't edgy either, but less edgy people than the likes of Exeter or Bristol, for example. It's a very kind of neutral uni, I'd say. But there's some nice shops. It's fairly reasonably priced back when I was there. The college-based system is great because it's not quite as strong of a college system as, for example, when I was at Sydney or as Cambridge or Oxford, like we talked about earlier. But you still, you know, go to a dining hall and have food in the evening if you want to. I like that. But, you know, it's a bit less intense. I like it intense. But it's also great for cultivating like sports culture, like JCFC, great football team. If you ever go to York, join James College Football Club, sick. Some great culture around that. And it's just easier to get involved in events and community stuff. You've also got a brand new side of campus that is developing. Fantastic university gym over there. Football pitches galore as well. And overall, the city's really nice as well. So like, I probably don't need to convince you guys about York. So if you want to know more about York and why it's on my list, watch any of my York reviews, my campus tours, my vlogs when I was there. However, the only con I would say is that for me personally, I was only there for 2 years, not 3, because I studied abroad. But I think by the end of 3 years, it can get a tiny bit samey. Like maybe Salvo's, although it's good, maybe it gets a bit boring towards the end. But for the first few years, it's fantastic. The buildings are nice. It's a respected uni, respected degree. Just before we move on to the study abroad section of the university list, there's a few honourable mentions that I want to give out to some universities. Huddersfield, I went there to do a talk. The campus is actually really nice. You know, like I was pleasantly surprised by how nice it was, kind of thing. Some of the campus buildings, although it's very integrated into the city. When he was actually in a building or a lecture hall, it was very nice. St Mary's University, Twickenham, where my drama school master's degree was validated from. When I went to that campus, I was like, oh snap, like this is really nice. You know, again, a bit of outside of central London, probably quite expensive, but yeah, it was a really nice campus. Strawberry Hill, super expensive area. So honourable mention to those guys as well. And then I also, although London universities aren't for me, I definitely vibe with the likes of LSE, Imperial, very, very cool unis. They offer something slightly different, but I always feel like it's harder to integrate yourself into university life when you're in a part of a big city, like, for example, London. Now, truth be told, right, I think study abroad, right? Let's talk about study abroad. When I was 18, there is no way that I even thought about studying abroad. However, after studying abroad, after coming on this journey of loving traveling, trying to be an actor, trying to do all this cool stuff in my life, as opposed to the conventional route of life, I guess, if I could go back in time, outside of the UK universities, my top choice would probably be Minerva University. I think obviously Unjaded Jade is doing that, and just the fact that you get to go to travel to all of these different places would be sick. Now, I definitely would have to think a bit harder about it, because whilst it's a great prospect and I love it, definitely, I feel like it does come at quite a high opportunity cost of you're going place to place to place, potentially different people all the time. It's hard to really build yourself into a community or get involved in a sports team, for example. You know, you might not make as many long-lasting friends because you're darting around all over the place, and you're always having to adapt to new culture and new places, and it's exciting and fun. However, I definitely feel like there's something nice in the fact that after a while in first year, you just kind of 6 months, you sit back, you relax, you're like, this is my place now. Whereas I feel like with Minerva, you wouldn't get that, but would it be one heck of an adventure? Very expensive as well, most probably. It'd basically be a choice that I would consider a lot. If I was super rich, going to a university in America is definitely something I would do. Same for the university in Sydney or Australia. Like, I would definitely study abroad if I was able to, but there's a lot of logistics behind it and stuff like that for 3 years. I would happily be an international student, even like Japan or going rogue somewhere like that. I feel like right now myself would do that sort of thing. However, I definitely wasn't ready to do that back when I was 18. I think that if I knew what I knew now and I went back, I would definitely do it.